All right, state of Texas and Mississippi both say they're open for business. Okay, so beginning week from today in Texas, all businesses are open. You don't have to wear a mask anymore. All the executive orders coming out of Austin are suspended. So a lot of people in Texas are very happy. Mississippi, same thing. Now, the interesting thing about this is that businesses in Texas and Mississippi can still say you can't come in without a mask. They still have the authority to do that. Individual businesses can. But there's no mandate on a part of the state government. Now, is that a smart thing to do? Economically, it is, but I would have been much stronger had I been Governor Abbott and the governor of Mississippi by saying, look, we're doing this because we know how much people are suffering and we want to alleviate that suffering, but please wear the mask if you're in a crowd and social distance because, yes, vaccines coming, but we don't want a flood of new COVID cases, which will happen in Texas and Mississippi. You mark my words, it will happen. Now, by May, President Biden says everybody will have the vax that wants it. Let's hope so, because that's what will really diminish this stuff. But here's a really interesting wrinkle. So after the announcement in Texas, the governor of California, who's about to be recalled because he's shut down his state, leading to unbelievable suffering, and the people of California have had enough of him, Gavin Newsom, he says that Texas and Mississippi policies are absolutely reckless. That's a quote, absolutely reckless. So why would Gavin Newsom be commenting on what's happening in Texas and Mississippi? Why? It doesn't have anything to do with California, which is still locked down. It's because if those policies are successful, all right, doing away with the mask mandate and opening up everything, Newsom looks like a boob because he's not going to do that. He's going to keep it shut down. Not totally, but as much as possible. And the schools in LA, the teachers union saying, we're not going back. We don't care who orders us to do what. We're not going back. And the reason we're not going to go back is because of racism. Roll the tape.
If you condition funding on the reopening of schools, that money will only go to white and wealthier schools that do not have the transmission rates that low-income Black and brown communities do. This is a recipe for propagating structural racism, and it is deeply unfair to the students we serve.
And so we're not going back. We're not going. So if you are in Southern California or any part of California, and you're not sending your kid to private school and you have the money to do that, you're crazy. Because the racism charge is now going to be used in everything. California is the most liberal state in the union, by far. All right? And the money that they spend on minority schools, it's through the roof. So this woman sits there and goes, well, you know, this COVID, if we open and go back to school, then there's going to be a tie-in, and it's not going to be fair. It's going to be racism and all that. I mean, you're just looking at it and go, if that's true, then the state of California is racist because they're the ones that are supervising the minority school districts, right? So we're going to deny every kid in California public school education face-to-face with teachers. We're going to deny that because of some fantastical racism accusation that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And everybody goes, oh, yeah. So anyway, California, deeply, deeply troubled state. Joe Biden didn't really say much about Texas and Mississippi opening. Here's spokesperson Jen Psaki. Says that president's going to follow the science. How many times have we heard that? I think it's up to about 35,000 times now. Okay, good. I'm glad you're following the science. I don't know what that means. It's a bunch of BS. What do you think about Texas and Mississippi opening up, Mr. President? What? Good? Bad? What? Forget it. Forget it. Not going to say anything. Now, why does the left want to keep everything shut down? Isn't that the key question here? Why? It's never been defined. There isn't a paper I can show you or an opinion piece that I can show you. Now, why the progressive left wants to keep the country shut down. Now, they'll say, well, because we don't want you to get COVID. We don't want the kids to get COVID. We don't want anybody to get COVID. It's all about us being humane. It's us. We care so much about you, O'Reilly, and your family and everybody else that we just don't want any chance of COVID getting to you. So we're going to shut everything down. And the teachers aren't showing up. Now, the collateral damage of that is way more than getting COVID, unless you're an older person with a precondition. But you can't debate it. But here's the real reason, in my opinion, and I can't back it up, but in my opinion. Okay. The progressive forces in this country want a strong central government in Washington and each state capital run by progressives, far left people. They want the government to tell Americans what to do, when to do it, how much they can have, how much they have to give to the government. They want to control our lives top to bottom. One way to control is to have the power, whether it be the president or the governor, telling you when you can open your business, how many people you can have in there. They want to establish that control. COVID has given them the opportunity to establish central government control, which is the key to socialism. There isn't any country ever that's been a hardcore socialist government that hasn't had totalitarians running it. And that means removing freedom of speech, dissent, all of that. That's what I think is going on here. But again, I can't prove it.